Hi, in this video I will be attempting to solve the puzzle Borromean Kriss Kross by Edric from Edric's 2022 puzzle hunt. So I don't know much about Edric's puzzle hunt. I just wanted to try something from a puzzle hunt I've never done before, so I did a web search, came across this one, took a look at a couple puzzles. They seem pretty good. And this one I just picked because I like the title. I had an idea of what it was going to be about based on the title. He's got a few different puzzle hunts. This one seems pretty cool. There's some weird time reversal mechanic going on where the day 1 puzzles are introduced after the day 2 puzzles. So I don't know exactly how it works, but the one I'm looking at today is day 5 puzzle 4, whatever that means. If you want to try the puzzle, there's a link in the video description to this page, and then you go to this clock here, 5th row, 4th column, showing 5:20 on the clock face. I also have a link directly to the puzzle itself, but the puzzle is a PDF, so it doesn't have links to the solution. If you want to see the solution, you go to this page, and it's down here at the bottom. There's also 3 hints on the right, hint 1, hint 2, hint 3, if you want to see those. And my apologies about my voice in this video. Good opportunities for me to record are pretty rare, so I went ahead and recorded anyway. Okay, spoiler alert, starting now. All right, start the timer. So we've got 3 pages here. I'm not sure if you're expected to cut this page out or if it's just a diagram. This one has some instructions, looks like some clues and some words here. And this page, a net, just in case you'd like to make your own model of this. Print this twice on each of 3 different colors of paper. This puzzle definitely takes place on a 3-dimensional shape. They've actually got a image of it here, which is great. It doesn't look to me like you could build this exact shape using the info in this puzzle, but you could build something pretty close to it. Well, at any rate, it's pretty cool. I picked this puzzle because I recognized the name Borromean rings, this topological construction of 3 interconnected rings. I guess that this shape is probably equivalent to it so it's 3 rectangles that are interlocking. I suspect I'm probably not going to be able to construct this, and I'm not sure if you're expected to construct it. But anyway, I'll have to work it out on the screen instead. But it's pretty cool. I like puzzles where you build something like this. Let me just read through everything to make sure I understand what's going on. You check your answer by going to a URL where you replace the answer as part of the URL. So we will be able to check it. So this entire thing is one large piece that folds into the correct shape. I don't know if we're going to need this at all because, I mean, you can see what the shape looks like without folding this up, but just so I understand what I'm looking at here. So all these thick black lines are where you'd cut. These dashed black and white lines are where you'd fold. And these faded lines, I think, are going to be hidden because they're covered over with other pieces after you folded everything. Yeah, some of them look like half faded. I don't know if that's significant. It's like a gradient here. So 12 words, each of which has a direction, clockwise or counterclockwise. The 12 words above are to be placed toroidally around the 3 rings of this puzzle. Once correctly placed, 20 words will also be formed poloidally around the rings. You will find 3 lists down below which have been provided for the sake of confirmation. When you've identified these 20 words, there will be 4 other poloidal rings, 2 on the red ring, 1 on the yellow ring, 1 on the green ring, which will allow you to extract the final answer to this puzzle. And it gives you the enumeration of the answer here. Red ring, yellow ring, green ring, and a set of clues for each of those. Okay, and the 3rd page, a net, just in case you'd like to make your own model of this. This page is related to, but not actually part of the puzzle, just an extra resource / artifact for you. Okay, so this shape here with the tabs on it, this actually is intended for you to cut out and fold. I don't think that's necessary to solve the puzzle. I don't think it's actually recommended to solve the puzzle. So what it's saying is that this shape, when folded, will make half of the ring. You see there's 5 cubes on one side of a ring and 5 cubes on the other side. This will make one of the 5 cube sets. So you print out 6 of them, color them, and you can make basically this shape by gluing these tabs together. This shape does not have tabs on it. I don't think this is intended to actually be cut out and constructed. So that's good. I do like constructing things as part of a puzzle, but I think it's hard to show on video. I don't have a good setup to have a camera pointed at me building anything. So I've only been doing things on the screen, so I think that's what we'll do here, and I think that's how this puzzle was intended to be solved. One thing I don't know is toroidally and poloidally. Okay, here we go. The poloidal direction is represented by the red arrow, and the toroidal direction is represented by the blue arrow. Okay. I mean, these are not toruses, but it's pretty clear what's going on. So if I was going to place something toroidally around the red ring, it would go like this. And then, it would loop around this corner here, continue around. Or it could also go along here, or on the back, or I guess it could also go on the inside, which is harder to depict here. Okay, so that's toroidal, whereas poloidal is going to go around like this. I don't see a good way to do it here. Like, I don't think that this counts as poloidal. So I think the poloidal words are just going to be 4 squares going around a single cube. If you were to look at this, this would be a 5x3 rectangle with a 3x1 hole in the center. So the outside ring is length 5 plus 3 plus 5 plus 3 is 16. The one on the face of the rectangle is 12, and there's 2 of those on the front and back. And then the one that goes around the center is 3 plus 1 plus 3 plus 1 is 8. These are the toroidal lengths for the ring, I think. And poloidal is just going to be length 4 because it's just going around a single cube, and there are 1 plus 3 plus 1 plus 3. So this is 8 sets of 4. So those are the lengths for the poloidal words. How do the rings interact? Some of the faces are touching. So for instance, this poloidal word here, it wraps around to the inside. Yeah, there's one face that's touching the outer orange face here. And I'm guessing that whenever 2 squares are touching, if one's red and one's orange, then they have to have the same letter, but that's just a guess. Let's think about how we want to represent this. So let's just focus on a single ring, so just the red ring. Let's say that this is the starting cube for each of the toroidal rings. And then it goes in this direction. We'll decide that this is clockwise. So for each of the 4 toroidal rings are going to start here and go all the way around. Yeah, I'm going to line it up so that the toroidal ring, the toroidal spaces are across and the poloidal ones are down. Alright, so we've got 4 rows here. I'll just call them 1, 2, 3, and 4. Row 1 is the outer ring, so that goes all the way around is 16. Row 2 and 4 are the faces, the front and back faces of the rectangle, and then row 3 is the inner ring. Yeah, so in these corner cubes, there are 2 squares that the outer ring goes on, 1 square that each of the facing rings goes on, and 0 squares that the inner ring goes on. So I think I have this lined up so that if you fill these in horizontally, wherever there's 4 tiles vertically, those will be the poloidal answers. All right, good. So red, yellow, and green rings. Now let's identify the ones that match up. Yes, in the outer ring, there's only 2 squares that touch another ring, and they touch the green ring. And so that's this one and this one. Go ahead and mark them on all the rings. They're all going to be symmetric. On the face rings, same deal. It's just those same 2 are going to be touching the green ring. Then the inner ring, there's a lot more. It's everything except the center part is going to be touching the orange ring. I didn't do a good job here because these center ones, they don't touch anything. So I guess I'll just remember these 6 are the ones that touch something else. So there's 18 pairs that touch each other. I wonder if I can just assign a different color to each of those 18 pairs. I'll come back to that. Let's see if we can get started. I'm just going to call these directions left and right. Left, right, right. Left, right, right. So we've got the diagrams that we can fill in here. We've got the 12 toroidal words here, and we've got the clues for the poloidal words for each of the 3 rings here. So I think that's all we need. So now we need to get started. So because of symmetry, the only thing that's going to distinguish the red, yellow, and green rings is going to be these poloidal clues. So let's start with these and see if we can see if any of these are obvious. They'll have to be 4 letters. So that does round it down a little bit, but these are pretty vague. Yeah, I'm putting question marks for all of these because they could definitely be something else. Actually, I think what might make sense is try to place a couple of these, just arbitrarily choosing which color they correspond to. So maybe I'll have to swap the colors after I've added a few. But then I can do that based on some of these answers, assuming that they do have to match when they touch each other. An outer ring, one of these 16-letter ones, has 2 spaces that they will share with another word. So the outer ring of the red is going to correspond to the inner ring of the green, which is an 8-letter word. We have a pair of letters that are 8 letters apart in one of these 3 words. So that's pretty limited. So for instance, if the outer ring of the red started with, if its first letter that shared with the green was the M in misconstructions, then the second letter would be 8 letters later, the R. If we start with the I in misconstructions, the second letter would be U, so on. So these are all the pairs of letters that we have to work with. So the M in the outer ring of the red in misconstructions matched up with the M of the inner ring of the green in moistest. And the red ring would go around, and 8 letters later, it would have an R, or it would match up with 4 letters later on the green, which would be a T. So that is a problem. So here are all of our options for that. So M and R can't match up with M and T. We need these 2 letters to be the same, some pair of letters to be the same. And actually, they could be in either order. I'll put them in reverse order here. So we need a pair of letters that appears here, that also appears here, and we need 1 for each of these. So let's, it's probably a quick way to do this, but I think this will be just as fast. So MR does not appear on the top. IU, nope. C, no. CT does. Just bold it for now. Cool, great. So these 5 are the only options. Fortunately, there's 1 on each of them. So let's say transcendentally appears on the red. Now, I'm not positive I understand how to determine left and right. If you go clockwise around a ring, and then you flip the ring around, that same direction is counterclockwise. So there's not like a clear way to say which is which. I can see they have to be consistent within a single ring, but making them consistent between one ring and the next, that's hard to say. Maybe that's fine. So let's say transcendentally going right clockwise is on the outer red ring. We know that the A and the N have to be in these boxes. So now this A matches up with an inner green. A and N, and AN appears in Thracian, which is going right. THRACIAN. So this C and this A match up with the face edges of the red. And the T and the R match up with the other one, and in that case it's going backward. So we should fill in these 12-letter ones as well. There's only going to be a couple possibilities here. So AC has to be surrealistic, which is going right. I want to say the other one was T and R, but it could be paperweights or multilateral. I just put that in and see how it seems. Maybe one will be obviously better than the other. All right, paperweights is going left. So now we need to look at like these the poloidal ones and say, could we make a word out of this? And keep in mind, it could be going either direction, and it could start anywhere. So like this could be van going up, hilt, ease, E-A-S-E. But especially if any of them match up with something we know over here, that'd be ideal. So this looks okay, I guess. So the other possibility was multilateral. Yeah, this looks okay too. till, leer, mere. Alright, so the fact that we place Thracian means we can't use the NA for reinterpretation. Oh, and we can't place the CT from misconstructions. Nice. So misconstructions corresponds with moistest, and reinterpretation corresponds with wireless. Okay, whoever goes here on the green will correspond to the inner yellow ring, and whatever goes here on the yellow will correspond to the inner red ring. I don't see a way to disambiguate those two. So this line has to be either moistest or wireless. If it's moistest, we need either T and S, slat and rems. Not sure. Or S and T. Yeah, that looks worse. If it's wireless, then it needs to be EI or IE. Okay, so mire. Okay, mire's a bog. I like that. Seal is a sea creature. Okay, great, excellent. Okay, were those on the same one? A bog is here, and a marine animal is seal. Excellent. Okay, great. So, by fortunate coincidence, we have the colors right. No, surrealistic was not ambiguous. We knew where that one had to go. But multilaterally was one of two possibilities. But I think that we can confirm that now because mire and seal match up. So let's see if that makes sense. So our vertical, our poloidal answers are seal, which we got. Rise or sire. Not sure yet. Scar, that could be a Disney character. Swan. I don't see where that could go. Reel or leer. Ante, okay, great. Two of these are unclued, but two of them have to be sediment and a dance. So I want the orange rings to start on the center top of the one you can't see, I guess is on the back, and then go around clockwise, would go around to the right and come up this way and touch here. So this is where I said the red ring starts. So E is this one here. It's at the end of the outer orange ring. And that puts I here. It makes sense to me, but it's a little hard to convey on video. Touches the... Yeah, okay. Alright, so these are the letters from wireless that wind up touching the yellow. So we need TS to be in this square, this square. Oh, that looks right. Okay. A fine fellow is a gent. Excellent. All right, so moistest we know has to go. All right, what else we got? Tess, a woman's name. Wire. Finish line, maybe? Down to the wire? Yeah, okay. Root. Vegetables. Peas. No, that could also be vegetables. T-S-E-T. S-I. Yeah, that looks right. All right. Yeah, I don't understand why, but I believe that I need to shift either the inner ring of the green or the outer three rings. So I'll just shift the inner ring of the green by 180 degrees. All right, so that looks a lot better. A lot of these poloidal words now look like actual words. So a form of water is mist. Cone. Oh, it's part of your eye, cone. Oh, okay, till is sediment. Okay, so there'll be 4 unclued colloidal rings, 2 on the red, 1 on the yellow, 1 on the green, which will allow you to extract the final answer to this puzzle. And it gives this enumeration here, 6 to 8. We're going to get 4 4-letter words, so we have the right number of letters. I don't think we're going to anagram all 16 letters. That's a lot. But I guess if we just put them side by side and then put spaces in the right places, it'll work out. Rise, real trim rice. Oh, okay. I thought I searched for this. All right, so the reel is the name of a dance. Great. We've got rise and swan. True cloud. Can that be the answer here? That looks bad. So like I need one of the words plus the first 2 letters of the second word to make a 6-letter word. I don't see any way to do that. I don't think this is going to be helpful, but I did it. I tried to draw out where the extra words are on this diagram. So here is the extra yellow word, trim, T-I-R-M, going around. And so, it loops around the torus colloidally. So I don't know if it's clear, like what square that corresponds to on the yellow one, but the T and the R are on the close faces, and the I and the M are on the back faces. And the green one, R-I-C-E. The C and the E would probably be mirror imaged because you're looking at them from the back, but but I didn't bother with that. And the red ones, R-I-S-E, going around here, and S-W-A-N going around here. They're all pretty close to each other. They share edges with each other. So I was just looking at this, seeing if there's any way that I could, like, I don't know, maybe traverse all the rings in order, some path going around them. I don't see anything. Definitely nothing jumps out at me like that, and I think that this is probably getting too complicated. Oh, you know what? All the letters in answer are in here. Answer is. Okay. Hang on. Let me see if I can make something out of that. I'm going to go red, yellow, green, because that's the order they were mentioned. I actually don't need to completely rearrange them. I can just go in order. I can just start at the A and go A-N-S-W around like that. E-R-I-S. Okay, so that gives me answer is. And what could I do with the last 2? So trim, rimped, impster, and tree. It's hard to imagine it being any of these 3. And second half, rice, icer. So my best guess is some arrangement of trim followed by some arrangement of rice, but I want to consider any of these with any of these. Does any of that make an 8-letter word? Alright, I'm going to new traumatic. Trimeric. Of or pertaining to a trimer? A polymer composed of 3 monomers. It's kind of obscure, but I'll try it. Let's see, I need to copy this link and replace the underscores. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Correct. Okay, great. Stop the timer. Correct. Good job solving this puzzle. How does that rush of dopamine feel? Feels great. Okay, that was Borromean Kriss Kross by Edric. Overall, I really liked it. Good idea, well done, great job. Yeah, see that this has 4 stars out of 5. I don't know what to compare it to. I was worried that would be pretty hard, but I really like the challenge level on this one. The solution write-up is good. It's 11 pages, there's a lot of detail here. It has a grid pretty similar to mine. Some things were shifted around, but it's the same basic idea. This puzzle came with 3 hints that you could choose to click on. I don't know how this worked during the puzzle hunt, but they were all just available on the same page. But anyway, I didn't wind up looking at any of these, and I don't think it would have made a difference. These hints seem good, but none of these things are things I was stuck on for any amount of time. Yeah, I found the extraction was a little bit tough, and none of these have to do with the extraction. The way this grid is set up, you can read the extraction down from the white boxes. Answer is trimeric, which I was not able to do. There's several different choices you have to make when making a grid like this, and the chances that somebody would come up on this exact one are, I think, pretty low. The write-up says that even if that was the case, all 4 rings do share the same orientations and starting points as each other. And that was not true for me. 3 of them I have going down starting from the 4th row, and 1 of them I have going up starting from the 2nd row. So I don't know if that means I made a mistake or what. And also I have rise to the left of swan, whereas here they're in the other order, and that makes a difference because that's in the order of the extraction. I can't think of anything obvious I would do different there. There's just so many different ways you could read these things. It makes it difficult. But also, I'm not great at extraction, so the fact that I got there eventually says it can't be too bad. The 2 individual clues that I missed, the name of a cloud should be Ort, which I feel bad for missing. I love the Ort cloud. I really should have gotten that one. And some birds are toms. Apparently that's the male of various animals, such as the turkey. I think I probably knew that one, but I'm not as disappointed that I didn't get that one. A couple of the clues did seem a little obscure or vague for what they were. Yeah, so I guess they're trying to avoid making it too easy. It wound up being a little tricky for me. As far as the construction, so very minor, but the WIR in wire matches up with a WIR in wireless, which again, that's very minor, but it's one of those small concessions you make when you're constructing these things. But in general, I thought the construction was very solid. Very well done. I like how this is put together. The way they gave you a word bank for the toroidal answers and clues for the poloidal answers, instead of going with just a word bank or just clues, I think that was a really good choice. I think this was just the right level of difficulty. I think it would have been really hard if you had to deduce these words. But, of course, my favorite part of the puzzle, and I think the essential part of this puzzle, was the 3D spatial reasoning involved. A lot of the write-up is about, how you should think about this and ways to approach visualizing, putting it together. Yeah, this write-up has a lot of personality in it. You can tell with the author's writing style. There's a lot of italicized and underlined words. I definitely feel like I would recognize now some other things by this author. Overall, I thought this was a really good puzzle, really fun solve. It may not have been ideal for me to choose for a video, just because a lot of the solution is me visualizing 3D shapes in my head, and it's really hard to communicate that. But I hope the basic idea came through. All right, cool. Well, thanks for watching.